Good morning, everyone. I pray that your Friday was a wonderful day, that you found some spaces and places of joy, spaces and places of laughter, spaces and places of peace, and maybe a teeny bit of time of self reflection. We've been talking about types of anger and we've been focusing on external anger. And so before I move forward, I want to kind of acknowledge my outfit. One is because I'm ready for it to be summer, but two, to be perfectly frank, I just got finished working out and decided to do this video before I do anything else. Back to types of anger. We've been talking about externalized anger, aggressive anger, and yesterday we talked about rage. So today we're going to talk about what you can do to begin to heal. What you can do to begin to heal life. Maybe I should say to bring balance in your life. We are human beings. We will experience a range of feelings. That's what humans do. So the challenge is not to feel, but the challenge is what do you do when you feel angry? How do you express it? What do you do with it? And so for people who, when they get angry, they externalize it, they become aggressive, that's going to an extreme. And so we want to always aim for balance. So how do we begin? How do we begin to achieve greater balance? How do we be able to better manage our expression of our anger? That's it. How do we better manage the expression of our anger? Well, the first thing is self-awareness. The first thing is admitting that you are the one who goes from 0 to 100. You are the one who explodes when you get angry. You are the one who will get people told. You will cuss them out. You are the one who may tear something up, who may physically harm someone. You are the one that when you become angry, sometimes you become so angry that you see red, that you don't remember what you're doing. You're like a bull going through a china shop. You're just destroying things along the way. And when you finally stop to take a break, you look back and say, oh my God, look at all the damage that I've done. The damage may not be physical, but it could be emotional damage. We can really tear someone down by the words that come out of our mouths. So the first step is being able to admit, this is me. This is how I express my anger. And I'm not talking about expressing it or acknowledging it. And yeah, this is me. I'm bad. I'm just who I am. Because the truth be told, that's nothing to be proud of. It's something to work on, but it's not necessarily something to be proud of. For most people who express their anger like that, they did not come out the womb like that. But there are some circumstances where there were some children who were born angry. But for most of us, it's something that we've learned. It's our response to how we've had to deal with a world that has traumatized us. And for some, that's how we try to defend ourselves. Again, I use my metaphor, if something bothers us, we try to kill a mosquito with a shotgun. We bring too much force because we are responding to what had happened to us in the past. We are being triggered by that trauma. So the first step is acknowledging this is me. Acknowledging this is me is we're not going to be like boasting about it, but we're also not going to beat ourselves up. We've come to a place of acknowledging, and that's okay. This is a judgment-free zone. It's simply just owning this is who I am, or this is how, not this is who I am, this is how I currently respond when I get angry. This is how I currently respond when something bothers me. This is how I currently respond when I get triggered. So we want to own this is me. You don't have to own it to anyone else. You don't have to share with another human being, but it's important that you own it within yourself. And owning it within yourself is without qualifiers. Qualifiers are, well, yeah, I do tend to explode, but if they would just leave me alone, or if they wouldn't pluck my nerves, or if this or if that. Owning who we are and how we respond to our anger is important, but it's also equally important to recognize It's not the external stimuli. It's not what they did or said that caused you to explode. What caused you to explode is something was triggered in you, and this is your way of dealing with it. Now, example, um, two or three people could view the exact same event. They could view the exact same situation, and they all may have radically different responses to it. And as we talk about different types of anger, there could be three different responses to a situation that makes us angry. Today, we're still just focused on externalized anger. So first we own this is who we are, and I actually wrote myself notes for the first time. And let me see what my note says. Oh, and then the next step, which is probably, it is equally as important than the first step, is believing that something different could happen. Believing that you don't have to always respond in the same way. Believing that you can achieve balance. And you may say, well, I don't believe it because this is what I do. This is how my family responds. This is all I know. But let me assure you, just because it's all you know does not mean that that's all there is. Again, just because it's all you know does not mean that that's all there is. We can all learn. We all have things that we probably do excessively, or we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. And so just believing that we can get better, we can become more in control of the expression of our emotions, more in control of the expression of our emotions. And then the third step is actually going to require homework. And what I want you to do with this homework is I want you to note the last 3 times that you were angry and what was happening, what was the situation, and how did you respond to it. Just note 3 times that you were angry, what was the situation, what was happening, and what was your response. And what we're looking for as you're noting those things is there a pattern? Are there particular things that set you off? For example, one of the things I really had to work on is when I felt like I was being taken advantage of. And it would really manifest when I was talking to businesses or companies on the phone. You know, when you call customer service and you're trying to resolve an error, you're trying to resolve something that you don't agree with the company. Let's say you bought something and they charged you double or whatever. And you have the proof. You're not just speculating. You're not just talking out the side of your neck, but you go into the conversation trying to resolve it. But what I would find is that going into those situations, I would become more and more verbally aggressive. And the people on the phone would say, ma'am, you need to calm down, or ma'am, you need to calm down, or they would become aggressive in responding to my tone. And then the situation really would not get better. And so what I had to begin to recognize is it's not that everybody in customer service is awful. It's not that mistakes don't happen. What I was responding to was the childhood or the child in me who really is rebelling against being taken advantage of. You all know I was molested. I was being taken advantage of. I couldn't do anything about it back then, but as an adult, I would take that pent-up anger that I couldn't express when I was a kid, and I would unleash it upon customer service agents or anybody who I thought was taking advantage of me. Once I was able to own that my behavior was excessive, once I was able to believe that I could manage business with people who on the phone without having to go off, life has gotten better for me. Now, I want to tell you, every now and then, I will find myself beginning to escalate. And that's what we're going to talk about later, recognizing when you're beginning to escalate. And so now when I find myself possibly getting to that place, I will say, I'll take a deep breath and say, let me start all over again, okay? But that deep breath is important. I will take a deep breath and say, let me start all over again. So I try to keep these videos to a certain length of time because I know people have things to do, and sometimes our attention spans are really not that great because we get distracted, or at least I know that I do. So we will end this with reminding you, owning, if this is your form of anger, aggressive anger, believing that you actually can respond in a more balanced way, and then noting the last 3 times that you are angry, the circumstances, the persons, the situations, with the intent of looking for a pattern. I love you all. This East Coast was supposed to have a polar vortex, and right now, I don't have any wood to knock on, but right now it's sunny and it's not necessarily cold. So I pray that this may be one time that the meteorologists got it wrong yet one more time again. And if they got it right, we will still find spaces and places of joy, spaces and places to smile. And for all of the moms out there, all those who have, I'm going to do it in categories, all those who have given birth, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. For all the moms out there who did not give birth but have mothered, and those are many circumstances, you have bonus children, you have adopted children, you have neighborhood children that you have mothered, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. For all the men out there who have allowed themselves or found themselves in situations where they've had to be both mother and father, I salute you as well. And for those who have a desire to be a mom and it has not manifest, my prayer is that you will get the desires of your heart, but I'm believing that even as you wait for this to come to fruition, you have been doing mothering on your own. You've been mothering nieces and nephews and friends and all those types of things. So be not weary in your well-doing. Be not weary. Don't get tired. What you are doing is not going unnoticed, and it's not in vain. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. I tend not to video on Sunday. I take it as a day of rest, and I'll be back with you on Monday. Love each and every one of you on purpose.